Lindsey Buckingham is here. He is a singer, songwriter, guitarist, producer, and engineer. As a member of the band Fleetwood Mac, he helped craft some of the most successful records of the 1970s. In 1987, he left the group to pursue his own career, resulting in 3 critically acclaimed albums. Now, 16 years after their last studio effort, Fleetwood Mac has reunited once again. Their new CD is called Say You Will. I'm pleased to have Lindsey Buckingham at this table for the first time. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Charlie.
Man, it's a pleasure. It really is.
Thank you.
Shall we tell people how this sort of came about?
Yeah, sure, yes.
I was in a store, an antique store, looking at something right before the summer, and your wife was there.
That's right.
And we talked, and I said, by God, would you please tell him we would like to have him on the show?
Oh, yeah. We'd just been talking about you the day before, so
Yeah.
it's great to be here.
Tell me, this started out as a solo.
It did. Yes, I mean, it's kind of an epic effort for me. I was working on tracks for a solo album before Fleetwood Mac reunited, 5 years ago for the dance album, and that became a kind of a, an intervention on what I was trying to do, and I put that down, and we went ahead and did the dance, and then when I picked it up, I finished it. And at that time, Warner Brothers was going through a lot of changes, and it was kind of a scary time to be putting out a record if you weren't a brand name, which I'm not as a solo. And so Mick and I just got together and figured, well, let's cut some tracks of Stevie's and see if we can morph this into something else.
And Stevie was ready.
Well, she was on the road at the time, but she sent over quite a bit of material that she had, and in the meantime, she wrote some new songs. And it just, it worked like a charm.
Now, how many of these songs are written by her?
Well, there's 9 of mine and there's 9 of hers. Yeah,
that's a nice mix.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, it's everybody's on this group except Christine is not here.
That's right. Christine left after the dance. She was just not happy. She needed to make some changes in her life, and she sold her house in Los Angeles and moved back to England.
Yeah. And so that gives you more space, and you and Stevie both more space, doesn't it?
Yes. I mean, you can look at it as a challenge, but it was really more of an opportunity to do what Fleetwood Mac has always done, which is to reinvent itself. The 3 musicians, it becomes a slightly more masculine thing, obviously. The 3 musicians have more room to maneuver, and Stevie and I get back to something more like what we were doing before we joined the band.
When this was Buckingham and Nick's?
That's right.
My God, did you guys ever record an album?
We recorded 1 album on Polydor.
But was it out? Was it released?
It came out, but it was not successful. We were getting some kind of groundswell in places around the country when we met Mick, and it was not an easy decision to join the band. But it was just.
As I remember, Mick had lost his guitarist, right?
That's right.
And he came in, and they said, and then you said, as I remember the story, you said, if you want me, you got to take Steve.
That's right. We're a package deal. That's right.
So you got Buckingham and Nick together. Either it's all or nothing.
That's right.
And Mick said, okay.
Well, he took it back to the other members, and of course Christine, you know, that was probably the one person who might have not been too big on that, but she was fine, and that's what happened. It was a group of chemistry.
Did it work from the beginning? I'll come back to Say Will and Say. Did that chemistry between all of you work instantly?
Instantly, we went into rehearse. Before which people did back then, before, before we went into
rehearsal?
Before we went into cut tracks, and it was immediately apparent that there was something extraordinary going on here. The way we meshed and the way our instincts overlapped onto each other, and also the way we got along, which was just like wildfire.
No jealousy, nothing.
No, everyone sensed that this was something which could be. Fleetwood Mac had been they had been a fairly successful group in like '69 with Peter Green as a blues band, and then had been through many incarnations in the United States, muddling along, selling 100,000 albums. So this was everyone sensed this was something which could be a major departure from what had been.
When was this?
'75.
Yeah, and then rumors came along how much later?
'77.
2 years later, you're selling more than 20 million albums.
That's right.
6 months, #1 song album in the world.
That's right, yeah. In America, at least, yeah.
Do you still have to play some of those songs?
Oh, of course, yeah. Well, it's an interesting proposition at this point in one's career. You have to give the fans what they want. Obviously, you try not to rest on your laurels, because that's what Say You Will as an album is about, is asserting the fact that a group of people who are all in their 50s can break down some of the preconceptions and the cliches about what rockers should be.
Right.
You know, or have been at least, you know, that you burn out by the time you're 40 or you're tapped out. And, you know, we're making some of the best music of our lives, and only could we be doing that without the experience that we've had. So, you know, to present that and what the fans want in terms of what's familiar is the trick.
It's a glorious time. I mean, Springsteen just announced he's going to be at Shea Stadium, I think Shea Stadium here for October. You guys on tour, you're going to be in Biloxi this weekend. The Rolling Stones were on tour. We're going to China, but because of SARS, I think, didn't go to China. The Dead is on tour with Bob Dylan and others coming in. I mean, this is a great time. And everybody, Mick celebrated his 60th birthday. You're like 53, 4, 5, something 53. In there. You know. Bruce must be, what, 40-something, huh? Whatever.
Yeah, he's probably like 49. I don't know.
But that's great, don't you think?
Well,
I mean, what does it say?
It says that, you know, rock and roll as a genre, when it first came out, was about, you know, rebellion and burnout, and that as a genre, it now can be redefined as something which, I mean, there are so many art forms that whether it's literature or whether it's you know, even many other types of music. I mean, that where people may not painting, where people may not hit their stride until they're in their 50s, and have accumulated a whole set of perspectives that they can now apply. And there's no reason that popular music, rock music in particular, cannot follow the leads of those other forms. I think that the cliche that you have to live a style which forces you or at least encourages you to be tapped out or burned out or disinterested by the time you're a relatively young age is a model that has gone.
Okay, so, but you are saying, I think I just heard you say, that if in fact you live the lifestyle of the 70s in the year 2000, you couldn't do it. You couldn't keep it up. You've got to be, you got to be healthier, you got to take care of yourself, or otherwise you couldn't do it.
I think so. I think that's true. I think part of it too is just that there has been, you know, the perspective of time. You know, when I was 6 years old, and Elvis showed up in my household. Before that, it was Patti Page. You know, it was like suddenly my whole world changed, and so from 1956 to the time, that was a seed that has grown with at least within, you know, the white mainstream. And, you know, it takes a little time to figure out what is possible and what isn't, you know.
Is Mick the leader? Are you the leader? Is Stevie the leader?
Oh, I don't think there's one leader. Mick is certainly the spiritual big daddy. I mean, you know, he's the one he and John have you know, they have the tenure. They've been around the longest.
But you and Stevie probably have the most visibility, don't you?
The most visibility, you know. I mean, there are all different things. In the 70s and through the 80s, Stevie was sort of the visual sort of focal point by being out there more. She certainly had more success as a solo and was trying for that. I was trying again for the esoterica. You know, my contributions were always a little less understood, a little more behind the scenes as a producer, or you know, the things that aren't really that visible to people. So everyone had their own job to do, and that's part of what makes it Fleetwood Mac.
She thinks she was put here to sing songs.
I would think so. Yeah,
I mean, I've read that she just. I mean, God, that's what I was made to do. Write and sing songs.
Yes, and she's a romantic, and she will put in her words what we all feel in our own way. Anyway, I mean, I don't feel any differently from that. I would just be.
But you would say to write songs, to sing songs, to play the guitar, to produce music. Your range. Well, and I mean, you know, you're more.
Well, I'm more pushy.
Pushy? Pushy?
No, I just assert myself. You know, you try to sort of scoop out your gifts and try to push yourself. Yeah. You know, I mean, I am pushy, but I mean,
with all the money, the idea of not recording, not going into a studio for yourself or for Fleetwood Mac, just has never occurred to you. Maybe for Fleetwood, not for you.
The idea of not just sort of giving up the studio environment altogether.
Yeah, giving up a studio and giving up going on tour.
Well, I did give up going on tour for quite a while, but only as, see, the thing that I've been able, the only way I've kept my sanity is to pull back when I felt I needed to pull back. You know, I actually left the band in '87 for a period of time because it had just gotten too crazy. Luckily, it all came back together. But you know, without that time to regenerate the batteries, taking myself off the treadmill that was the mega selling machine, you know, that wouldn't have happened. So there have been times where I clearly just withdrew from everything. I didn't withdraw from my work, but it was more about self-study. And when do you sort of reject that in favor of another part? I mean, you know, it's very easy to confuse fame and success. And I think of success as something that you have to keep cultivating and as you would a garden, and keep thinking of in terms of the long term.
It's also very easy to confuse success, fame, and talent and craft.
That's true. That's absolutely true. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if I could conceive of never being involved in music. Possibly down there is a kind of a chain of command that, you know, people are in the field, and then at some point they become enablers for other people to be in the field, or that's what I've been told. I don't know if that means I would eventually be a producer, but I don't know. I just think you know, I have a beautiful family for the first time, and a couple of kids. I think the mantra for me is certainly trying to round things out, where I've been a very focused and narrowly focused person for many years.
You once said, interestingly and appropriately, that writing a solo album, creating a solo album, is like painting a picture. While being part of Fleetwood Mac, it's like making a movie.
That is absolutely right.
Right?
Yes.
Have you ever wanted to be in the movies, to make movies, to be part of a different artistic form?
Well, you know, I've never had much of the call to write soundtracks in that sense. I mean, I have written a few songs. I did write a couple of very fun songs for the movie Vacation, one called Holiday Road. But in a broader sense, there are many similarities between the visuals, the musicality of what film is about, and the way it's cut together, and the way the camera moves, and there's much that I can draw from watching great films that will inspire me musically. So I mean, maybe the reverse could be true. I mean, I've always been fascinated by the possibility of actually going out and making a movie, but I have never pursued it at all, and probably won't.
Take a look at this. This is Fleetwood Mac live in Chicago in June of this year, performing Say You Will from the album. Here it is. We'll come back. More conversation. Lindsey Buckingham. Stay with us.
Change your mind, that always seems to heal the wounds. If I can get you to dance.
I mean, a lot of Stevie's songs have to do with 9/11.
Well, no, I think only one of them. There's a song called Illume, because I know she was in New York City somewhere when that happened. Certainly she did not witness it, but because the entire city was affected by it so profoundly, that song. I think the range of her subjects is really broad. There are quite a few songs that are about relationships. There are a few songs that are about me. You know, it kind of runs the gamut.
Yeah, here it is, the two of you, after all these years.
Yes.
On stage as we just saw you there.
Mm-hmm.
Met at San Mateo College.
That's right.
Instantly attracted to each other?
No, I just met her a few times, and just in order to be aware, enough to be aware that she played and sang, and vice versa. And then she went off somewhere and I didn't see her for about a year. So. And then? And then someone said, well, why don't we get her in our band? And we did. And even then, there was no, we were not involved with each other for about 4 years. And then you got together. That's right. And stayed together. The band broke up, and then that was that.
So you had to each other.
Yes.
And how long did you stay together?
Well, we were together from, I guess, maybe 1971 until about 77.
6 years.
Yeah. Yeah. we moved from Northern California down to Los Angeles and got this record deal and made the album. And
yeah. You moved to LA together, play together, all that
yeah,
stuff.
the whole.
So
band.
define this relationship for me.
Well, it's not so easy.
No, it's not. It's been a long time.
You're asking the wrong guy.
Really? Why?
I don't know.
I was
I don't
like
think-
you were the perfect guy.
Well, you know, I think we've all lost our objectivity here, you know, at this point. I don't know. I think that, you know, Stevie and I, we have a lot of reference points that go way, way back. You know, I think there was a love and also not a love of each. There was a love of each other,
Right.
but there was also a love of the idea of where we were going that
Yeah.
unified us. I think we were both too immature to try to want to work through our respective craziness,
Right.
and it just sort of fell apart. And I think it would have for anyone. You know, that was part of the legacy of Rumors. You know.
Meaning?
Well, meaning that
There were rumors about everything.
It was a kind of a postmodern
Yes,
album. It
it
was
was.
very self-referential.
That's right,
And
it was.
you know, people had brought out the voyeur in everyone, and you know, you had John and Christine
Exactly.
breaking up, and Stevie and
Yeah,
Lindsey breaking up,
right.
and it's all there on the record. You know.
And that's what made the album so damn.
Yeah, and at some point you have to assume that the attraction of that transcended the quality of the music. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, not that you can really separate the two, but you know,
Yeah.
there was that hook that everyone was buying into, except us.
Because you knew better or something?
Well, we went through the process of making the album, and it wasn't so much fun, you
Really?
know, as you can imagine. It was kind of painful. It was a kind of an
You write this, I'll write this. You write this,
Yeah.
I'll write this.
And, you know, breaking up with someone, for both John and Christine and Stevie and
Right.
myself, in the middle of knowing that you had to get to the other side and it was bigger than all of that, it was sort of an exercise in denial and compartmentalizing your feelings here and there. And, you know, it took years to sort of, you know, get over some of that.
But it might have been good for the creative spark of the...
Oh,
Or
sure.
not,
Yeah, it absolutely was. And to some degree still is, you know, by the subtext or the ghost of what that was still has a voice in some things that get said in the band, and certainly some of Stevie's songs that where she might be, you know, addressing me, you know. There's still a part of that we're trying to work out and be adults, if you will. You know,
This is fascinating.
you know.
So in a sense, this understanding, explaining, working out is an ongoing work in progress between Lindsey and Stevie.
Well, I think it's pretty much.
It begins as something, it becomes something, then becomes something else.
Yes, and there's a kind of a poetry to that, and I think people appreciate that we're still here.
Yeah.
You know, that
Yeah.
that somehow that we appreciate the chemistry, not just Stevie and Lindsey, but the band chemistry,
Right.
and that we are motivated somehow to keep it going, even if only sporadically, and even if it's a little hit and run. You know, I mean, I have a wife and two beautiful children, and I have
Boy, you sure do.
you know, a whole life that is sort of really not a minor miracle. It is a miracle that's
Yeah.
opened up for me relatively late in life.
You had kids when you were in your late 40s.
Yeah, well, I'm 53. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Yeah,
so,
that's
you know, and so I've got that to sort of give perspective to all of this other stuff, too, which
Yeah.
I never thought I was going to get the chance to do after a certain point. So.
Good for you. Take a look at this. This is Big Love from the dance contest, a single that... did this surprise you that this was a big number?
Well, the way I do it on stage is not like it was done on recording. It was more of a straight-ahead, singly type thing. And the way I do it now, it's just really, it sort of shows the
5 fingers.
the way the 5 fingers, yes.
Roll tape. Here it is.
I wake up alone
This is a great time for you.
It's the best time of my life.
Best time of your life. Fleetwood's touring, an album. You got 2 beautiful kids and a beautiful wife. You're in good health. You can do solo if you want to.
Yeah. You know, in a way, I guess the whole slightly karmic, hopefully.
Yeah.
Tried to put out the good energy during the bad times as well. You know, tried to be a pro about it, no matter what.
Bad times were what?
Most of Fleetwood Mac. No, I mean, you know, ambivalent times, shall we say?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
You know, it was just difficult.
But was the difficulty always the pull between commercial and what some might say your more artistic instincts?
Yes, that was part of it. That was one area of difficulty. Some of the area of difficulty was obviously the period of time where the breakups were taking place.
Relationship breakups.
Yes, and I think that also you have to remember that we all, not so much me, although in my case, the way I perceive it, it was more like when in Rome, you have to, whatever, you know, when people want to start the sessions at 8 at night, you know, if that tells you anything.
Yes, it does.
So, you know, there was a lot of craziness going on. What can I say? So all of those things made it hard to prevail. I made idealism hard to sort of win out on a daily basis.
It's great to have you here.
Great to be here,
really
Charlie.
Is.
Thank you so much.
I'm a huge fan. As we leave, here is a music video for Peacekeeper from this album, Say You Will. Lindsey Buckingham, Biloxi, Mississippi, this September 6th. If you're anywhere near there, if there's still tickets, go get them. We leave you with this music video, Peacekeeper. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.